I offered up $300 to my 60,000 LinkedIn followers if one of them could send me the best cold email that I've ever seen. And over 310 people took me up on that offer. Some of them were the most atrocious cold emails I've ever seen in my entire life. But others were absolutely genius, ticking all the boxes of what makes a great cold email. And because I've sent and helped my clients send literally millions of cold emails over the past 5 years, the bar was high. And in this video, I'm gonna show you 5 of the best emails and highlight 5 of the worst emails and show you one thing that you can learn from each of them. Stick around though, because at the end, I'm not only gonna reveal the best cold email I was sent, but I'm also gonna show you some of the most hilarious cold emails that I've ever seen. So before I get into some of the terrible and great emails I was sent, let's break down the 5 things that a great cold email must have. Number 1, deliverability. Does it even land in the primary inbox as opposed to the spam inbox of the intended recipient? About 50 of the cold emails I got sent ended up in my spam folder. That's about 1 in 6. And I would give you some deliverability best practices in this video, but they are always changing and it would take too long. So instead, what I'm gonna do is link to a guide on email deliverability in the description of this video. So go check that out if you're worried about your emails getting delivered. Number 2, the subject line. Does the email even make me want to open it, or can I just hit delete without worrying about it because it doesn't look important? The key here is to not immediately make your email look like junk. Numbers, sales language, marketing sounding things, they are all going to tip your reader off that they can delete this email and know that it's not important and not even have to worry about it. Number 3, formatting. Is the email easy to read and understand? Now, this is where shorter cold emails can excel. However, emails don't have to be short to be good. Simple words, shorter emails, double-spaced paragraphs, short sentences, and easy to understand simple vocabulary is one thing that anyone can do to improve their cold emails. Number 4, relevance. Does the email touch on a important and relatable problem for me or its intended recipient? Some of these emails I'm not the right persona for. And secondly, does it fill me with confidence that the person who's emailed me is worth speaking to about solving that issue? Do they have credibility in their offer or solution? Most importantly, is the email speaking to me or is it talking about themselves? I don't care about your solution, otherwise I probably would already be looking for it. It has to talk to something about me, a problem, priority, or opportunity that I have versus telling me about your solution, which I didn't even ask about. And then lastly, number 5, creativity. Is this email different from all the other hundreds of emails I get sent every single day? Have they done some really good research on me? Is it really personalized? Have they used some really compelling storytelling? Maybe even some jokes or humor? Those are a bit risky because not everyone's gonna receive those as well as I do. But be careful here because a lot of the creative things are more gimmicks and hacks that just don't stand up, especially as they get adopted more and more. So using those 5 criteria, I can now figure out which of these emails are the best and worst. Let's start by looking at some of those ones that I said weren't so good. So this first one, subject line, cold emails tailored to prospect needs, drive engagement, laughy face. That subject line immediately tells me this email is not worth reading. It uses buzzwords, it's like kind of stating the obvious. But then when we get into the body of the email, hi Dustin, that's not my name. I hope you're having an awesome day. I don't care, everyone tells me they hope I'm having an awesome day. This, as a business owner, is just a waste of time. I'm reaching out because I wanted to see how we can help you overcome any IT-related challenges and provide support to grow your business. What challenges? That could mean anything. IT-related challenges, that's so broad. Be specific when you're trying to tell people what you're reaching out about and what problems you can help them fix. At Cloudflow Technologies, we specialize in providing a range of IT solutions designed to simplify your operations, enhance efficiency, and drive success. That is a lot of buzzwords. I really don't even understand what they're selling or what this email is about. Using a lot of buzzwords like simplify, enhance efficiency, drive success, that could mean anything. Here's a quick look at how we can support your business. And then they've got 6 bullet points telling me all about their solution, which I didn't ask about, I don't care about, and I don't really understand how this helps me. I'd love the chance to chat more and explore how we can make your IT environment work even harder for you. What the fuck is my IT environment? I just don't understand what this is about. If you're open to a conversation, just let me know your availability and I'll happily schedule a Google Meet to discuss further. That's a lot of work. I'm not gonna say yes to this one. Looking forward to connecting and finding ways to help your business thrive. I still don't know how you could even help my business thrive. Like, this is way too long. It's a lot of self-serving language here. It's using a ton of buzzwords. I really don't even know what this person sells. I assume like IT services, but I don't really know what I would care about the IT services because it doesn't speak to a problem or anything specifically related to my business. All right, let's take a look at the next one. Subject line, Company name, manage DOT compliance efficiently. Again, buzzwords in the subject line tells me this is a sales email. I probably wouldn't even need to open this, but let's keep going. Hey, Will, and then in a different font size, this tells me this email is copied and pasted from ChatGPT or somewhere else. Be careful with your formatting, be careful with the text and font to make sure it's not all looking different and shows this, because it's an immediate tip off that this is a spam email. Do you have the responsibility of managing your company's driver qualification files? You should probably know that about the person that you're reaching out to before you reach out to them. Your targeting should be good enough to know that you're reaching out to someone who is probably responsible for this in a company. If so, you can help you manage all of recipient company names, driver files, and DOT FMSCA compliance in one easy to use dashboard. So again, this really isn't speaking to any problem that I might have if I was someone who was managing driver qualification files. This would be much better off stating a problem that a lot of people who manage those files run into, and then just pointing towards the fact that they actually help solve that in a few different ways, but not sharing so much, because then they go on to share another one with 6 bullet points on how they offer and how they help. These are all filled with buzzwords. I don't really understand a lot of this stuff. It's all very complex and it's a lot of selling. Again, if I wasn't looking for the solution, then why would I care about any of this? They then set an image of what their product looks like, but again, I don't really care, and this is probably why this email ended up in my spam folder, because sending images in your emails is a good way to get sent to spam. Partnering with company name can reduce your onboarding time by an average of 40% for new hires. Please feel free to email me or call me to discuss further. You can schedule a meeting directly with me in my signature block. That's a lot of work. This email would be so much better if it was just simply a lot of the folks we speak to who manage their driver qualification files find it an absolute nightmare trying to keep their systems up to date, onboard new drivers, spot when people have the right qualifications, and sort their fleets appropriately as a result. We help make that easier with our driver compliance system. Is this something you've looked into in the past, or can you relate to how hard it is to stay on top of this? And then just that's the email. Because if I can relate, I can reply to them and I can learn more about their product from there. They don't need to tell me everything their product does, because it's just a lot of pitching. And as we know, pitches just don't sell. Problems sell. Let's take a look at the next bad one. This next one, subject line, Pakistan. So subject line is literally their company name. Immediate tip off that this is a cold email. Here's the body. Hi Will, I'm Farouk from Pro tip here, folks, you don't need to introduce yourself at the start of a cold email. That's what your email signature is for. We're building the Stripe of Pakistan. Company name is a PCI DSS certified PSP PSO agnostic payment orchestration tech layer. What the does this even mean? It's just buzzwords, man. Like, if you're building the Stripe of Pakistan, then just tell me the problems I might have if I'm a company in Pakistan trying to receive payments and running into issues with Stripe or another type of solution. Like, with our tech innovation, we're better than any other payment solution in Pakistan because we offer the following. And they then go on to list 8 bullet points telling me why their solution is amazing. I didn't fucking ask. No one asked. You could send this to anyone, and except the very, very, very tiny percentage of people who might be looking for a new payments provider, most people wouldn't care. But even then, each of these bullet points is filled with buzzwords, complex language that I just don't need to understand as a small business owner trying to receive payments. No one else in Pakistan offers all of the above. I don't care. This email is so long, so self-pitching, and then ends with a CTA saying, when were you free for a 15-minute conversation? I don't have 15 minutes. Even if I got to the end of this email, trying to figure out a 15-minute conversation, I have no idea what the value would be to me to join or set up a conversation like that. So again, falls into a lot of the traps of the other one. So email number 4. Hi, Will. I hope you're doing well. Again, I don't give a fuck if you hope I'm doing well. Just get to the point. My name is and I'm with company name. Believe it or not, that's in your email signature. A 3PL logistics provider committed to delivering top-tier transportation solutions. Fucking hell, that was a mouthful to even say. Like, this is, again, I just don't even understand what that company does. Logistics provider committed to delivering top-tier transportation solutions. If I'm not looking for that, why would this matter to me? You know? I moved to Canada with just $16 to my name. Oh my God, we're gonna get a fucking story here. Built a career in logistics over the years, and now I have the privilege of doing what I love and helping businesses like yours optimize their supply chains with the best coverage in the industry. I don't need your life story. Instead, just talk to me about the things that you know I do, a lot of problems that I might be running into with that as it relates to logistics and freight management, and then talk about how another company who had those issues helped solve that. You know, like, this goes on for so long. It's just talking about specializing in things, pitching me more stuff, lots of buzzwords. I don't need to know all this. You can just talk to a problem and then a little bit about how you might be able to solve that. It's super long. And then of course they asked me for a quick call at 1 p.m. EST on Thursday. Not the way to go about it. Instead, try and close off, just say, hey, does this sound interesting? Or is that a problem you've seen? Or would you be curious to see how other companies have, fixed that issue that I talked about earlier? Again, not a good email, falls into a lot of the cliches and traps that the other ones fell into. And now finally, the worst cold email that I have ever been sent. So while the other ones were long, pitchy, didn't get delivered to my inbox, and frankly were quite irrelevant, this one is potentially quite offensive. So the subject line is entry, which I assume is entry into the cold email contest. The email then says this: apart from your obnoxious color schemes, I mean, it looks like a gender reveal, what exactly do you have that stands out? So you know how I talked about earlier how you talk about people's problems and problems that you might be able to hypothesize or assume they're facing based on what they do or their website or things that are happening at their company. This isn't that. This is offending someone. You can talk about people's problems without going for their jugular and roasting them. This type of messaging is not going to make you any friends. I can take a joke, I can take criticism, but sending this to a potential prospect is going to get you reported as spam. It might even result in someone reaching out to you, your boss, and complaining. It then goes on. Hi, for someone in sales, one thing I don't get from your work is 1, clarity of product. I get it. You help people sell, you help people put themselves on the map, but your sales website isn't selling your product, it's selling you. I get it. Personal brand makes the man, but that's what your own socials is for. When I visit your website, honestly, the first thing I saw was t-shirt, not even in your iconic ugly color scheme. The fuck? This feels like a Reddit roast me. I've done one of those. I don't need it in my email inbox. Number 2, difference. I checked out your testimonials. People mention humor, how we offer personalized advice, and honestly, that's pretty good. Excellent. What I don't see are numbers. I couldn't find results. None of them mentioned single statistics on proven increase in their sales after training with you. If it happened, why not advertise it? 3, social media. Your grid shows random ass things. Memes are good, but if you hop on one, you don't hop on the other. The ones you do hop on, I have already seen out there. But then you also post the classic LinkedIn video content, which almost every sales pitcher out there is already posting. Why try to change it up when you haven't mastered either? The fuck? Who does this person think they are? That's all I have on this email so far. And that's why you need me. I have 20 plus things, wow, really helpful, that you can change with your strategy. Email me back to find the other 20. That is if you want to make more clients. Listen, to the person who sent this email, I assure you, I know my website's kind of ugly. That's why I had it redesigned. All this email does is makes me think you're an asshole with an ego who is frankly quite offensive. Do not send an email like this to anyone ever. This is the equivalent of calling someone's baby ugly. Yes, you want to talk about problems and things you could help with, but you don't want to offend someone. You don't want to make them feel like they're incompetent or an idiot in your email. What you do want to do is help identify a problem that they can see or potentially haven't seen, but not make them feel guilty or stupid for not addressing it yet. Overall, this email gets a 0 out of 5. This email is also overly long. I'm unclear on what this person does. I feel offended, and it also ended in my spam inbox. So frankly, this person clearly has some issues to deal with long before they start pointing out mine. Okay, so those are 5 bad emails. We've seen things that can make up a bad email: deliverability, length, pitching, irrelevant, long messages, formatting that doesn't make you want to read the email, some subject lines that are just frankly awful, that make you look like a marketer. Let's cleanse our palate and look at some good stuff. Now, before I get into these, deciding a winner was really difficult. I actually had my shortlist whittled down to like 15, but I could not figure out which ones were the best. I also didn't trust myself because sales can be so subjective. Like every client, every industry, every seller is different. And that's also why I recommend people get lots of information, lots of tips, so they can pick up the things they like that they think would work for their clients and for their selling style. And if you want more of that type of thing, more tips that you can look at, decide if they would work for you, and incorporate, then I highly recommend you to subscribe to this channel, look at some of our other videos, and while you're at it, take a look at our newsletter that goes out weekly with different strategies, not just from me, but from other pro sellers in this space, so you can find the things that you think would work for you and leave the stuff that doesn't really match your style. So head on over to salesfeedmedia.com and subscribe to our newsletter and check out some other free resources while you're over there as well. All right, so good emails. Let's take a quick look. The first one. So this one, the person obviously did some research on me. me, could tell I was a bit of a nerd into Lord of the Rings and other such kind of fantasy stuff. Subject line, the one proposal to rule them all. Hey Will, just heard from your team that you're mid-contract with Rohirrim. In this case, Rohirrim is a pretend competitor of their company, Responsive, who offer a RFP software. So I'm not really the intended buyer for this, because often that would come down to a proposal manager or a bid manager, but we're going to pretend that I am the intended audience for this. I like the personalization. Just heard from your team that y'all are mid-contract with competitor. You can find this out by messaging someone on LinkedIn, or you can even use some different intelligence tools to figure out what tech stack people are already using. From customers who have switched to us from competitor, they've said that the primary reason was the proposal process felt like Frodo getting to Mordor with no Samwise. So very relatable, very funny for me as a Lord of the Rings fan. And then they finish off with a CTA. Any chance you'd be open to learning more about why others switched to Responsive and chose us to be part of their fellowship? Carries the analogy and the personalized Lord of the Rings story through the whole thing. I really like this one. It's short, it's to the point, it's clear. It's a good example of how you can message someone who you know is working with a competitor. The one thing I would probably try and get a bit more specific on, like the pain point, the proposal process felt like Frodo going to Mordor with no Samwise. I would even clarify on that. Slow, buggy, whatever the issue is with competitor, I would just clarify what that is, because if it's something that a lot of people find relatable, then there'll be a lot more truth in this email, and I'll be a lot more incentivized to find out why Responsive isn't those things, you know? So that was email number 1. Let's take a look at the second great email in here. Subject line, you've never read a cold email like this, but I do like the fact that it kind of includes a little bit of a challenge in there, which incentivizes me to open it and find out if I really have never read a cold email like this one. So then the body goes on. Hey Will, 60,000 followers is cool. Turning them into 60K a month? Even cooler. I know your inbox is a battlefield, so I'll keep this short. In fact, if this email doesn't intrigue you in the next 7 seconds, archive it. No hard feelings. I like the tone of this. This tone is a little bit of a risky one. It matches my style, but it might rub some people the wrong way. You've built an audience most sales influencers dream of, but here's the real question. How many of them are paying you? So this is a provoking question, which gets me to think about a problem or gets me to think about something that's an unrealized potential gain. I really like the positioning of this question. We've helped influencers like Josh Braun turn their LinkedIn presence into a revenue machine. High ticket inbound leads, product sales, and zero cringe. So this builds a lot of credibility. I know who Josh Braun is. He's in a similar space to myself. So they're using a case study here that I will trust and relate to. And they've given me a bit of a tease on the impact of what working with them has been like. So I trust them now to help solve the issue that they made me think about in that previous sentence. If that got your attention, let's chat for 10 minutes. No pitch, no pressure, just the exact playbook we used. So this 10 minutes ask is light, it's interesting, and the offer is actually really interesting to me because I feel like if I jumped on a call with this person, even if I didn't buy from them, I would learn something new that I could use in my own business, even if it was just insights about how Josh is monetizing his following on LinkedIn. Best, Felix. So this was a great email for me. When I sent this to some of my friends to give their opinion, it rubbed some of them the wrong way. Some people loved it, some people didn't. It was a little bit polarizing. So you really have to know your audience to pull this one off, but I do feel like it had a great structure. It highlighted that they'd done some research on me. It got me thinking about a potential problem or opportunity, and then it made them sound credible using a relevant case study that I think they could help me with the problem that they've just put on my plate. The offer / CTA was great, and frankly, I responded to this person showing interest, so it worked. Here's the third great email. So subject line, Leap Engines plus Lockheed. Great subject line. We find out why in just a minute in the body of the email, but Leap Engines plus Lockheed. So Lockheed is one of their existing clients. Leap Engines is a strategy that they're pretending that they've seen from my company because I'm not the intended like buyer persona for this. They seem to sell to like big design and engineering companies and manufacturers of engines. So the body of the email is, Hi Will, saw from Acme's annual report that executives are doubling down on innovation around your Leap engines. Now, obviously, this isn't true, but they don't sell to a persona like mine, so they've just pretended that I'm a potential customer. I think that first line is really good. You can use AI to quickly scan people's annual reports to see what are priorities for them right now. You can even do that at scale using a tool like Clay, and you could literally do that for 100 different companies who have annual reports. And therefore, although this seems really personalized, it's actually just pretty well targeted. Lockheed, which is a well-known company, and I imagine probably in a similar space to other people they're selling to, had a similar focus, except theirs was hydrogen combustion engines. but their deadlines are approaching faster than their innovation rate. So what they've done there is highlighted a well-known company in a similar space to me who had a similar priority to me and highlighted a problem they had with that priority, that their deadlines were approaching faster than their innovation rate. After digging in, it turns out their main bottleneck was how fast they could iterate designs in CAD, which is design software. Traditional tools were simply too slow, so they fixed this by adding computational design into their workflow. So what they've done is actually crafted a really good story of how a company with a similar priority to me in a similar space solved a similar issue using their software. It's credible, it highlights a problem, and it speaks to a priority that I, as a company, if I was innovating Leap engines, would have. If that sounds like a similar story of the Leap work so far, open to chatting more about a new approach to design. Really, they're just asking me if I'm open to a chat. They're not asking me to book a certain time or how long it would take. They just asked if this sounds interesting or if it's relevant to the things that are going on over at our company. So I think this email is really good. It's short, it's well personalized, it's relevant because it has that case study. It highlights a potential problem with my current workflow, and it gives me confidence that they would actually be able to help me if I did relate to that issue that they outlined there. So great email overall. This is like, A+ email. Very, very solid. Not that creative, but great formatting, great relevance, great message, and it got delivered to my primary inbox. So it ticked a lot of the boxes for me. Here's the second best email. Subject line, problem with your LinkedIn contest. This piques curiosity because I'm thinking, oh God, what have I done wrong? What problem could there be? I think it comes off slightly kind of like, oh, I know better than you do, but it definitely got my curiosity enough to open the email. We then get into the email. Will. I'm a big fan of doing away with the hi, hello, hey. I love people just jump straight in. Will. One of your followers told me about your email contest, and I love it. Really smart way to get attention and engagement. But the contest has two big problems. So here is something really interesting. The person is actually kind of buttering me up. They're kind of feeding my ego a little bit. They're telling me something I've done very well, and then they're coming in to say it's got two big problems. So they're not coming at me and telling me my baby's ugly. I feel like I already trust this person because they're not just being an asshole to me. So number one, you're gonna get a lot of garbage. Since your website has an article about how to cold email, 99% of the submissions will be lazy, AI-generated versions of your advice. This is true. A lot of those emails were my framework, poorly adapted to try and sell me. Second, and more importantly, is your framework. It's good, so they compliment me, but it seems like it's ignoring 3 critical bias psychology principles, which are likely lowering the effectiveness of your advice. I'm curious now. Because, it's ignoring 3 critical bias psychology principles. Like they're being very specific without billing that candy at the front door. For the last 11 years, I've led buyer research with Stanford, Florida State, and the University of Warwick. I've trained over 14,000 sellers worldwide, and one thing I won't negotiate on is basing sales strategy on science, not hearsay. I like this. It's a little bit self-loving and gloating a little bit, but it does establish credibility. I do trust what this person is going to say next now. They've obviously got some great qualifications, but they're not really pitching me. They're kind of giving themselves credibility. Let's start up a quick chat. I'll share those 3 missing psychology concepts, plus a few spots on your website where you're self-commoditizing your messaging. Easy fixes, big impact. So again, the offer in this email is really tantalizing. It sounds like they've spotted a problem and they're a good person to fix it. And the offer is light. They're not saying, jump on a call and we'll go through the 6-week sales process. They're just saying they're going to tell me what these things are. So they've almost like dangled the carrot. And now I'm immediately like, okay, what am I missing? I'm genuinely curious to know what things they've seen and how I could be doing things better because they've actually credibly made me feel like there is a problem that I need to look at. I'm in client workshops this week, but I have time on Monday or Tuesday if you're open. So again, the CTA isn't really hard. And yeah, my Monday is pretty open, so I probably will respond to this one. And I am now very curious to know what they've spotted. This was another one that was quite polarizing. Some people loved it, some people hated it. I think that shows that strategies can work differently for different people. To me, I am really curious about this person and want to know more. The subject line got me because I was like, what's the problem with my LinkedIn contest? And then the highlight of the problem was done in a way that didn't call my baby ugly or criticize me or put me on the defensive or make me feel like an idiot for not realizing these things. This person I trust to help me, and their offer sounds interesting, so I'm much more likely to respond to this email. Really good stuff, and I'll jump on a call with them and I'll see what those biopsychology principles are, because they're probably what's making this email work. And now I'm very interested. So finally, the number 1 email. So folks, this is the best email. Out of over 310 cold emails I received, I think this one is the best one. And honestly, it probably could have been even better with one tiny tweak, which I'll tell you in a minute. So here's the email. Subject: The first meeting. Hey Will, whoever wins your cold email competition probably has no trouble getting meetings. Really good. Straight off the bat. Relevant, it's relatable, and the subject line, the first meeting, is actually interesting. You know, in a way, it might even make me think about, oh, the first meeting, but it doesn't deceive me in any way to thinking we do have a meeting. But then what? Sellers need to win the first meeting, not just show up for it. I love that segue from I've seen this to, but then think about this problem. You know, like it's a really good storytelling technique that gets me to keep reading. What if you had just the right amount of deal intelligence before every call? And what if that intel was anchored in your coaching and training offerings and fully customized to specific named accounts? Enter custom deal intelligence kits. So in a way, they haven't pitched me what that product does. They've asked me to imagine if I could have the outcome, and then told me that their product can help them do that. They're not saying custom deal intelligence kits can give you the right amount of deal intelligence before every call, can anchor in your coaching and training offerings, and are fully customized to specific accounts. They said that things first and then revealed that that's what they're trying to sell me. It's actually very, very well done. And I really like the creativity that goes into making this email. Like I read the first line, I want to read the next line. That storytelling in this really sells the email and gets me to keep reading. I'm like hyper curious at this point. Now, this is the part where I think they could have done a better job. This product is a labor of love. I created this model through direct feedback from some of the top enterprise sellers in my network, built as a result of training more than 14,000 sellers across 6 continents. Curious? Let's chat. Even if it's not for you right now, your thoughts could help shape it for tomorrow. Really good CTA there as well. I am curious. I want to see this thing. I want to know how it would help me and my clients. Very well done. Now, the part that I think could be better is this product is a labor of love. I don't give a fuck if you labored your love over this thing, because that's you, not me, right? So that's where I think this email could be a little bit better. I would just say enter deal intelligence kits. The model was created through direct feedback from some of the top enterprise sellers across 6 continents. That's credibility. I don't need to know about laboring love and all that stuff. In fact, it's a little bit cringe, but it's only one tiny tweak in an email that otherwise has really good like foundations, great storytelling, well-researched, relevant, highlights a problem, gives me confidence that this is something worth looking at. And then the ask and offer is actually interesting and tantalizing to me. So this is the best email. It's just very, very well done. And with that tiny one small tweak about something being a labor of love, I would argue that this is a perfect cold email. 10 out of 10, very well done to that. And this will be the one that is winning the $300 prize from me. So good job, KL. Well done. Really good stuff. Congratulations. 10 out of 10. You win. So that was the cold email competition. I'm hoping you can learn something that you can take and use in your own emails from those top emails, and hopefully learn something that you shouldn't do from some of those worse kind of bottom 5 emails that I got sent as well. Now, as I mentioned, I sent the top 10 emails to a lot of my friends, a lot of other sales trainers and sales leaders in the space, and no one agreed on which email they thought was the best. It's a lot of personal preference and style that goes into this. So if you feel like you could write a better email than any of the emails that I've shown you today, I challenge you to write your cold email in the comment section. I will personally read it, give any feedback that I have, and for the one that I think is best and is better than this email right here, I will personally give you $100 extra in pure, cold, hard cash. So go ahead if you think you're up to that challenge, but if not, I'll see you next time. Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe, and to finish this off, here are some hilarious emails that I was also sent. Obviously aren't the winners, but made me laugh nonetheless. Enjoy.